following show is a paid program.
Hey family, how you doing today? We have Mr. William Thrasher here with us. He's an author, pastor of Christian Community Fellowship. He's the second of 7 children from Little Rock, Arkansas, lives in San Antonio. Hello, my friend, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you so much. You have some great books out. Let's get started and find out why write your books.
Well, I believe, and I was always taught, if you got something to say, don't be afraid to say it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And you know, believe it or not, sometimes it takes maturing to get to the point where you're willing to tell your story or say what you have to say. And I've been fortunate enough to been inspired to write these books, and with the inspiration from the Holy Spirit and encouragement from family and friends, I put it to paper, I put pen to paper, and this is the end result.
Absolutely. Your first book, I love To Make the Moment Last, the story of incredible Jades. Let's talk a little bit of what that one is about.
Well, the 1960s, the late 60s, were a marvelous time for the Black community. There was a lot of wonderful new music coming of age. Motown, Stax were battling, dueling, if you will. Every week there was a new tune out. And I was playing in our local high school band along with several of my other buddies. And we decided to get together and try to mimic some of that great music.
Yes.
And that we did. And the book is a nostalgic look back at that time. And it was a wonderful time. It was a time of civil unrest, unfortunately, but it was also a time for growth in the Black community in the entertainment area. And I was fortunate enough to be in that area at that time.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Just going back at that time, we had to collaborate and unite together. We could only depend on each other at that time.
This is true. Unfortunately, though the tide was beginning to turn, it was still difficult for Black entertainers to get their product out there and get what was really theirs to be gotten in terms of the revenues and whatnot. Motown and Stax made a difference. They made it possible for Black artists to really get to showcase their talents. And the end result was an explosion of some of the most powerful, some of the most creative work in the industry at that time, and has remained that way down through the years. The oldies but goodies are still the oldies but goodies.
They sure are, and people are still playing the music, even as of today, 2021.
Yes. You'll find that back then you didn't have as much electronic tampering with the music, so you had to have the talent first before they would put it out there. And I think because of the authentic talent that was apparent back then, it's why that music is still relevant and still just as impactful today as it was when it was first produced.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because young people then are even calling and saying, we want that music on ours. We'll switch it up a little bit, but we still love the beat. We like the lyrics and want it to be part of it. I've heard a lot of renditions that are out that are still part of that time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The late '60s were really a wonderful time for creative geniuses in the black community, and the evidence is still there.
It is. Let's talk about another book that you have, Good Citizenship. For today, a mindset on civil virtue, and it's a movement. Let's talk about this movement you got going.
Well, I'm hoping that it's a movement. When I grew up, my parents said, "Son, we want you to make the best grades you possibly can. We want as many A's, as many B's as possible. Bring home the C's if you have to. Um, but when it comes to how you behave in the classroom, you better bring home an A every time because there's no excuse
Mm-hmm.
for not showing respect and being respectful." And so that was the law in our home and in our community, for that
Mm-hmm.
matter. Nowadays, you don't see that.
Right.
There's so much lack of self-respect, respect for authority, respect for your comrades. It's just almost non-existent.
Right.
And unfortunately, we've even seen that play out on the big stage,
Mm-hmm.
even among our political leaders, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got an opportunity after I retired from my own business to volunteer just to keep my hands busy, just to keep my mind going. And
Mm-hmm.
so I volunteered, and then I started subbing at the local junior high school, and I got to see firsthand the issues that teachers have with just getting control of the classroom. They spend half the time getting control of the classroom
Wow.
before they can even begin to teach.
Right.
And that's because there's just not enough emphasis being placed on the importance of basic self-respect.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how this book came about. And I'm doing everything within my power to raise the awareness everywhere I can, in public schools and private schools, wherever I am. And hopefully it's going to pick up momentum as it continues to spread far and wide.
What's needed? What do you think is needed? Let's go through the list a little bit in the book, as well as some thoughts that you think that are needed, that's needed right now, starting with parents. What can we do?
Well, when my kids were coming up, just as when I was coming up,
Right.
I always ask my kids, how was your day? How did things go in the classroom? I never got a phone call from my teachers, from my children's teachers, saying that they were a problem in school. Nowadays, the students are daring the teachers to call their parents,
Wow.
telling them that I run this house, not my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So parents need, and unfortunately, we have too many parents who have not been really trained to be good parents,
Mm-hmm.
don't have the parenting skills that they should have.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, we see a lot of the chaos and confusion that's in the public schools today.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So, my book is designed to address these issues in a simple, basic, easy to understand language that the children can understand, and also that the parents can understand. A lot of them just didn't get it.
Right.
Well, this book will help the parents get it and help them give it to their young people, to their children.
What I love about this book, we have something that's very crucial now in our day, that we need our children as well as ourselves to come home safe. This book will help for people to understand that, as you were saying, disrespect, as you were speaking of the lack of, self, is a problem in our community. Now that we sit in front of police officers, judges, or whomever, we're at a loss when we're in front of them, in other words. we're really at risk for our lives.
Oh yes, oh yes. You know, the irony is when I was a child, the only time I ever saw a policeman was in his car going down the street
Mm-hmm.
or downtown somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
These children have grown up in a culture where the police are stationed at each school. What
Right.
does that tell us? What
Mm-hmm.
does that tell us about how far removed we have come from the importance of civility,
Right.
of good behavior, of self-respect? When
Mm-hmm.
you have to have policemen in the schools,
Mm-hmm.
we've allowed our moral center to decay to the point where we have no choice.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And looking at your book, we need this on a daily basis. It's so uh, uh, evident, and it needs to be now. 2021 is needed.
Absolutely. One of my vignettes in the book is entitled "Be an Eli,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's an Eli is an acronym for encourage, lift up, and inspire. That's really where the movement is coming from. I'm forming a foundation called Be an Eli Foundation, and our objective will be to teach young people that even at an early age, they don't have to be an adult to inspire, to lift up, and to encourage. They can do these things even as young people. And we
Mm-hmm.
have exercises in the book that will help teachers or parents use the book as a tool in really bringing the mindset of civility to the forefront in our young people.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that. We don't take in consideration or tell our children or wives or husbands that they're queens, that they're kings, that they're prince, that they're princesses, that they have the authority, the royalty. They are, they're important, they're valued, things like that, positivity on a consistent basis. And I love the way you said that about your children. You were asking them daily, what is going on? How was your day?
Well, I wanted them to know not only was I concerned,
Mm-hmm.
but that I was also holding them accountable
Mm-hmm.
for what they do and their behavior. And the more we're able to hold each other accountable, I think the better off we're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's what the Be an Eli Foundation is going to strive to do. And we're sincerely hoping that it will become a major movement because our young people in particular still have the fear and the danger of the police brutality of peer pressure getting out of control. There's just so many things that can happen when you don't have an ulterior mindset. A lot of times people revert to their natural instincts. That can serve you sometimes, but sometimes it can be a danger. And so what I'm trying to do is teach our young people that there are alternative mindsets that they can have, alternative thoughts, alternative approaches, better choices that you can make. And good citizenship for today is designed to address those choices and to give people, young people, better choices that they can make as they navigate their journey.
I'm so glad you're saying that because they're having to deal with cyberbullying. They're having to deal with suicide. They're having to deal with peer pressure, just different things along the way. And your book is so great in trying to, in just for them to navigate that, even though many times they have to deal with other things at home that some children shouldn't have to deal with.
You know, one of the I guess camel what the needles that got lost in the haystack or whatever was a young boy came to me. He was being disruptive in the classroom,
Mm-hmm.
and he kept on being disruptive and just kept on. And so finally, I called him to the front of the desk, and I said, "I want to apologize to you." And he looked at me real funny. I said, "I must be doing something, or I must have done something to cause your behavior to be the way it is." I said, "So I want to apologize to you right now." He said, "No, sir, you haven't done anything." I said, "Well, I must have for you to continue to act the way you're acting." He said, "No, I just turned 14." I said, "Well, that's great." He says, "But I don't know if I'll live to see my 15th birthday."
Wow.
He said, "The things that are going on in my home and in my community
Right.
just have me so unsettled and so scared till I just don't know what to do. And sometimes it comes out the way it's coming out today." And of course, I had to share that with the counselor at the school, but it got my attention.
Right.
This is out of control.
Right.
When a kid doesn't know if he's going to live to see his next birthday
Mm-hmm.
because of what's going on in his home or in his
Right.
community or even in the school,
Mm-hmm.
we need a mindset on civility. We need that.
We do.
We need it badly, desperately. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why this book was written, to help address that.
Wow. You've written some more books. Let's talk about the other two that you've written. Let's go to the next one.
I assume you're talking about I Am Determined?
I Am Determined. Yes.
Well, I Am Determined has an interesting background. When I was 32 years old, my mom gave me for my birthday a hardbound book that must have at least 500 or 600 pages in it. And it had in gold leaf, "I Am Determined." And the author at the bottom of the book was William E. Thrasher Jr. And I said, "What?" So I opened the book and it was empty pages.
Oh my
She
God.
said, "Look, you've done a lot of things in your life." She said, "It's time for you to start telling your story."
Oh my God.
And I didn't know what story she was talking about, to be honest with you. But I took the book, uh, thanked her so much for it, and started scratching my head. And for the next 20 or 30 years, that's all I did was scratch my head. And then one day it dawned on me that there was something that I needed to say,
Yeah.
and it started slowly but surely. And fortunately, thanks to our former president, it became very clear what I had to say. And it was that in the midst of people who are hell bent on destruction,
Mm-hmm.
there can be uh, glimmers of hope. There can be attitudes and mindsets that can overcome prejudice, racism, uh, all of the areas of disrespect that this former president showed.
Mm-hmm.
And I Am Determined is the fruit of that. My mom started the catalyst, uh, but I will say that Donald Trump poured the gasoline on the fire. And the result of that is a series of sermons that are meant to be hope, light, and encouragement to people who are still going through many of the challenges, not only of the pandemic, but social unrest and the police brutality
Mm-hmm.
and the lack of a moral center in America. America has lost its moral center. I don't know for sure if Alec de Tocqueville actually said the words, "When America ceases to be good, she will cease to be great." But he's been attributed with that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
I know that America has a long way to go before it can even think about being great. And it scared me when I heard Donald Trump say, "Let's make America great again." I'm trying to figure out when it was ever great. Surely it has the potential of being great. We have all the tools to make it great, but
Right.
we don't have the moral resolve. We don't have the courage. We don't have the intestinal fortitude to stand up for right regardless.
Mm.
Uh, Liz Cheney just got kicked out of her leadership role and a Republican because she stood up for the truth. When you can be penalized for telling the truth, then it's time to look at who you really are and what you really stand for. I Am Determined was designed to stand up and say that I'm going to make it no matter what. We can make it no matter what. And that's the fruit of it.
Sounds good. Let's do this. We'll take a break and we'll be right back with the Cam Hill Show.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages. The Cam Hill Show. If you'd like to advertise your business or become a sponsor, contact the Cam Hill Show at gmail.com.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month. Both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. RonCarterCadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, family, thanks so much for coming back. We're talking to Mr. William Thrasher. Mr. William Thrasher, I love the fact I Am Determined. That book in itself, even from the story of mom and writing that so many years before she knew you had stories inside of you, and she knew that this day would come as a pastor, okay, of Christian Community Fellowship. Let's talk about those sermons that you spoke about hope and just how to make it great again. What things do we need to do? We were talking a little bit about it earlier.
Well, first we have to acknowledge the fact that we have lost our moral center.
Mm-hmm.
And that we need to return to just the basic tenets of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
And doing unto others as you would have them do unto you. And more importantly, Christ tells us to be the light of the world. We are the light of the world. We are the salt of the earth. We're supposed to be shining or be a shining beacon for the world. We're supposed to be an influence, not only at home but abroad. But with the kinds of moral and social disruption that we see, our light has become very dim, mm-hmm. and our influence is non-existent. So I Am Determined is striving to rebuild or rekindle that desire to be the best that we can be. Paul says, I must become all things to all men by all means, that I might save some. Well, whether we save them or not, we've at least got to try.
Right.
And I am determined. It's designed and written with that kind of inspiration.
I'm so glad about that one. You have another book. We also were talking about COVID. Let's go into it. Let's go into your other one.
Well, the last book is 7 Pillars for Successful Service. The original idea behind 7 Pillars was just to help young preachers who don't get an education and I'll give them some skills or some tools to work with as they began in developing their ministries. That was the original idea behind it, and that's basically how I wrote it. But since then, and actually before it was actually published, COVID hit, and then we started seeing a new paradigm. The churches were going to have to close and change the way they do service and whatnot. And a little bit of that, just a minor portion of that, is addressed in the book. But as a result of that, a new book is on the way that I'm collaborating with 8 other pastors called How to Reach the Masses. 7 pastors expounding on the 7 pillars, talking about the 7 basic things that a church needs to really be about the business of winning souls for Christ. But because of the pandemic, all that has changed. The dynamics have changed.
Yes.
And as a result, our approach has to change. Not the message,
yes,
not the intention, but the way we go about it has had to change. And hopefully this new project that I'm working on with 7 well-seasoned preachers of the gospel will further shine light on it. Because in addition to the 7 pillars, there's also a piece dealing with the technology and how technology can help advance and enhance your ministry, especially since we have less hands-on right now.
right.
The technology is going to have to be our hands. It's going to have to be our feet. It's going to have to be our voice when we can't be there personally. But I do have all 7 of the books
Yes.
here. 7 Pillars for Successful Service.
That's it. Yeah.
Good Citizenship for Today. To Make the Moment Last. And I Am Determined.
Okay. All righty. There they are. There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. We were talking extensively about COVID a little bit earlier and just the world and what has happened. We were so, I think both of us, and definitely as we look at the numbers, we see the deaths, we see the sickness, and we see the people still suffering right this moment, even though vaccines are available. I think we just, as a platform, we have to discuss it. We have to say something. We have to talk to people.
I am so proud of you for using your platform for this critical, vital issue. Our people, the Black community, has been devastated by this. We've per capita lost more people in our community than any other racial community in the country. Why? Because we are not taking advantage of the opportunities to get vaccinated. We're not learning the impact of it. We're not staying abreast of what's actually going on and how it's impacting us. But now that the vaccines are out there and they're becoming more available, it's a crime if we don't take advantage of it.
Yes.
Yes, there are going to always be a few people who have a reaction to it. But the risks are more serious than taking the drug or the drugs that are out there. We need to take every opportunity to stay as safe and protected from this pandemic as we possibly can.
Yes.
Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson, whoever they may be. We should be the last ones to say no. There's no excuse for us to say no, especially since we are the ones that are dying more than anybody else.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so glad you said that. We're the ones with the pre-existing a lot of times. Heart disease, diabetes, high blood pressure. We're the ones that I want us so to go take this vaccine as we need to run. We really do. Let's just try to help each other, each one, teach one, just try to pull each other. And I understand that people are scared. I've got that. I understand that. I'm quite aware that it's going like that. But I just don't want us to be in a situation where if we don't use it, we'll lose it, you know?
And yet, unfortunately, in times past, whenever opportunities have prevailed, we've always been the last ones to catch on.
Yes.
And by the time we decide we want to do it, it's already gone.
Yeah.
Well, we can't be on the back end of this because we're at the front end. We're on the front line.
Yes.
We're the ones that come in contact with people who have this disease more than anybody.
Yes.
So we need whatever protection we can get. One of my daughters is a registered nurse who works in the neonatal area, and she sees these mothers coming in all the time. And she, the impact has been devastating on her. As a matter of fact, she wound up getting COVID. Thank God she was able to bounce back from it. I don't know a family. I don't know a family that has not been impacted by this.
Right.
And for us to pretend that it doesn't exist or that it's some kind of conspiracy against us, we don't have time for that.
Right.
We don't have time for it.
Right. We don't. It has got to the point that they're now saying that not just the funeral homes, but they just don't have the space because we're dying so quickly.
You would think that death, the message of death, would be sufficient to make people think twice, but we're still dropping like flies. And I don't understand. We've got to become more responsible. We want to see our children, our grandchildren grow and hopefully have a wonderful life. They can have no life if they're not here. Absolutely. And if we're not responsible, then we're just as bad or just as dangerous as the disease itself, if we're not willing to do what we can do to make it better.
What would you like to leave with the viewers, my friend?
I would say that everybody has a story. Tell your story. I thank God that He's given me the opportunity to tell mine, and I hope that you all will go to my website, wethrasherjr.com. All 4 of my books are out there now. You can purchase them there, and if not there, obviously Amazon books, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, they all have access to the books online as well. And again, I really appreciate you having me on and giving me an opportunity to expose my books to the public. And I look forward to the response I get from them.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much for everything that you have shared throughout your life and helped us along the way, because your books are an extension of just helping us just to go forward, just to get on the other side, and to be great. Thank you so much for the opportunity, my friend.
It's been my pleasure.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back on the Cam Hill Show.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages. The Cam Hill Show. If you'd like to advertise your business or become a sponsor, contact the Cam Hill Show at gmail.com.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month. Both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. Ron Carter Cadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, family, thank you so much for coming back. I want to thank Pastor William Thrasher for coming on. He is great, great, great. I wanted to take this time because I felt so strongly about COVID. I just lost a really good friend of mine about a day or two ago. He passed away. He did not take the vaccine. He was very adamant about not doing it. But I want to talk to each one of you all about it just a little bit. I don't want to not use the platform and not do everything I can to help us. I took Pfizer back in February, and I was adamant about doing it because of the fact I knew I would be out in public and be around a lot of other people. Didn't know what it was going to be at the time, but at that time it was only Pfizer and Moderna. Johnson & Johnson had not come along the way, but it is one shot. It is out there and it's available. But I want each of us to know one thing, is that once you're taking that shot, okay? A lot of people have talked to me about the fact, Cam, you'll have the side effects. I did not. I'll tell you just my story. I was okay on both of them, the first and second. I took it in February. Like I said, I've had it a long time. I do know some people that have had side effects, but I did not have it. I would know that 100%. But at least I know 50-50 chance I'm protected at this point. I also want to talk to parents. Right now they're doing it. I just saw that Pfizer has the vaccine for children from 12 to 15 because they were at one point 16 and over. We were taking the vaccine, but now they have protection for the children. I know Pfizer does. I was reading that. The CDC also came out this morning and was stating that if you have had the vaccine, you don't need the mask, okay? Some will wear them, some will not. But just get the vaccine if you have that opportunity. I'm telling people there, I'm here in Houston. At our locations, we have them at the grocery stores, Walgreens, which is our drugstore here. CVS is a drugstore here. Walmart is giving it. And like I said, several of the grocery stores. And that's with no appointment. And with no appointment, there's no excuses. Go anytime, Monday through Friday. They even have some places, I understand, on the weekends. But I just want each of us to be protected. I hate to see death as it is. I don't know that it would happen anyway, but if there's any way we can protect each other, I want that to be. So I just wanted to say that. I wanted to speak on that. And for whatever it's worth, just to know if people were asking, had I taken it? Yes, I have. So the other thing now, I want to go to upcoming events. Let's do this. I'll show you some things that we'll be having for the next week. Let's show the first flyer. Silver Logan Sharp. A lot of people may not know her, but they know the group called Chic. One of their songs was La Freak. She's going to be on this Monday. Let's show the next one. Gino Rosaria. He is a jazz keyboardist, one of the best. You got to hear his music. He will be on Wednesday. Keith Washington, R&B singer. He will be on for that next Monday. I'm telling you, ladies, he looks the same. You're going to want to see Keith Washington. Everybody has asked about him. He looks great. I'm telling you. The next one. Okay, this is an event that's at B's Wine Bar. Everybody's been asking me of the different events that I support. This one is Overcomers. My executive producer is part of this event. She is a best-selling author as well as a life coach. She will be part of this one, Living Your Best Life. If you're here in the city of Houston, you do not want to miss this event. This one is an all-white party. It will be Memorial Day. It's going to be, again, at B's Wine Bar. We're supporting that. We are sponsors. They're called Triple Threat. These are ladies, and each one of them, man, in jazz, they play great instruments. You don't want to miss it. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for having me as being part of you. We will be here 12:30 to 1:30 Central Standard Time daily. See you then. Bye.